Good morning. UConn has just wrapped up its best regular football season since 2010 and will very likely be headed to a bowl game. The team calls Rentschler Field its home. It opened back in 2003 and also serves as a concert venue and a soccer, rugby, and lacrosse venue as well. But it's not in such great shape all these years later, and there have been recommendations made to fix a number of those issues. Joining me by Zoom to tackle that question is Michael Freimuth. He's the executive director of the Capital Region Development Authority. They manage the rent. Mike, thanks so much for being with us. And I guess we kind of made the joke when I talked to you before we started here. You and I looked a lot better 20 years ago, too, probably. So I guess it's to be expected that a stadium like this would age, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's going through a normal aging process. There's a life cycle depreciation to anything this big. The stadium has been exposed to the elements for 20 plus years now. And frankly, technology's passed it by. So there's just some cleanup that has to be done to take care of the normal wear and tear. And there needs to be a significant upgrade in its capacity to meet today's broadcasting and sound and video needs that the public demands.
So there was a study done of what needs to happen there, and a consulting firm came up with $63 million worth of stuff that needs to be done. I know there's $24 million that's been approved the first 2 years of it. What are some of the first things that are going to happen over there?
Yeah, the study pointed out that the stadium was in relatively good condition, well maintained, but time had passed it by in a lot of ways. First things we're doing are practical things, cleaning up some electrical problems, cleaning up some leakages in the systems, water problems primarily. The big exercise will come in the next few months. We're going to rebuild the locker rooms, which is something that UConn prioritized. But the big expense that we're looking at the moment is replacing the roofing systems. It sounds simple, except the roofs are loaded with cell phone towers and HVAC equipment. All that stuff's got to be moved out of the way before you do the membrane. So that's a major undertaking, but that'll allow us to tighten the building up nicely. Going forward, we hope to take on the IT and the technological needs. Everything from security is different than it was 20 years ago. If you're working on the same phone, working with the same phone you had 20 years ago, you're missing a lot today. Just the simple capacity, fiber optics for broadcasting, technology for ticketing, how people communicate when they're building. Today, your phone is your wallet and your ticket. We still have 25 ticket windows that no one uses. So there's just a normal upgrade that has to come with the building to meet today's expectation of the fans, but also to meet the needs of the school and, frankly, to meet the visiting teams and other promoters who want to use the facility.
Well, I want to talk about that, the last point you made, and I hope people will check out the Hartford Courant had a great piece on all this. Ken Gosselin did a good job, and there's a lot more detail than we'll be able to get into right now. But one of the things he raised was that issue of the locker rooms, and you mentioned it as well. And of course, we talk so much about UConn football and their ability to compete without a conference. In the age of the transfer portal, they're trying to convince big-time players to leave other programs and come here, and they're trying to convince big-time schools to come to East Hartford to play football and trying to get some of those shiny names. That one of the things Ken said in the Hartford Courant was you have 3 outlets in the locker room and 100 18-year-olds looking to charge their cell phones. It's just kind of a time capsule from a different era. Is that part of the problem?
Yeah, it is. And they're all doable. The building is in great shape, really. It's just we have to make it work better for the team, make it work better for visitors, make it work better for the fan who comes in. Yeah, the electrical systems, the IT systems, they're all dated. We're working in an age when the building was built during the dial-up years. I mean, if you have an AOL account, I guess you're okay, but everybody else has moved on. So the building hasn't. I mean, we joke about it, but we still have payphones in the place. I mean, and people do selfies now with them. They crazy situation where folks are lined up with their cell phones, take a picture of themselves at a payphone. I guess it serves a purpose of some sort, but it definitely is past its days.
How much from your perspective as sort of the 40,000 foot view of all this development, the fact that this was a more successful season and we've seen a few pretty successful seasons recently, I know the actual number of tickets that were scanned is a big deal and that being up, but it's still way down from where it was at the peak. How much is it actually getting someone to get in their car and show up at the rent? How important is that to the calculus that you're doing?
Well, listen, attendance drives the operating budget. UConn can sell tickets and they earn the tickets that pays for the team and all the expenses related to the athletic program. But the stadium lives on a $3 charge on each ticket, plus the sale of food and beverage, plus parking. Obviously, the more people in there, the better it is to make the budget work. We think we need, well, we don't think, we know we need about 24,000 people through the turnstiles for 6 or 7 large games to make the building break even. The team was averaging that for a long time. Frankly, up and through 2010, it was averaging over 25,000 people. In the last few years, it's dropped into the mid-teens. Though this past season, to your point, it's up about 27%. So there's an increase that comes along with a better team performance, obviously. Sometimes it's a factor of date and opposition. So all that plays into the calculus. And we're also getting events, and this is a trick to the building. We've been lucky in securing international and national soccer events that do very well. We also had, of course, the NCAA lacrosse finals over the last couple seasons. So all those things are critical to making the budget work year round. And the building has to be up to snuff in order to attract Major League Soccer events, international soccer events, NCAA playoffs. So it's more than just simply keeping the grass green for a football team. There's a lot of other elements that go into this property.
Now, I know there's also a big undertaking happening at the XL Center to modernize that building, another place that UConn, and obviously a lot of other events happen, $145 million there. Mike, if people are watching this morning and saying, you know, I'm not a sports fan, I've never been to a UConn game, I'm never going to go, I'm not going to go to the Civic Center, why do I care about this? Why should their state money be spent on something like that? What's your pitch to them?
You know, look, it's a fair point. Everybody's got different priorities, but this is a public asset that drives a variety of other things. It drives restaurants, it drives hotels, it drives parking garages, it employs hundreds of people, and it drives a variety of taxes. In many cases, it produces more taxes in the way of payroll taxes, sales taxes, emission taxes, excise taxes. It's endless, really, that go into the budget. So it is a critical element of downtown. But the bigger picture of what downtown Hartford or any downtown in Connecticut has to be challenged today, because the old office market structure, if we will, the old central business district, is upside down today in the world of post-COVID and remote. So we have to factor out what's the role of downtown. It's going to be institutional. It's going to be educational. It's going to be entertainment. And that's what the Civic Center provides. So, you look, it's there. Would you build it today? Probably not. The fact that you built it and it's 50 years old and it produces taxes, jobs, and spinoffs to a variety of other businesses, it serves like an anchor does in a major mall. It's an anchor to downtown. And we got to care about our center cities. We need to care about our capital city. The Civic Center is a big part of that.
Well, I know a lot of people, the attendance numbers show it. A lot of people went out to the football games this year. I've been going to the Rent since it opened in 2003. And I think, as the report said, it's a time capsule. So it'll be interesting to see it as it moves forward. A lot happening here, a lot of taxpayer dollars involved. We appreciate you breaking it all down for us. And hopefully we'll have you back as this all moves forward. Mike Freimuth from the CRDA, thank you for being with us.
Thank you.